Existential freedom and responsibility in Beauvoir's philosophy. Simone de Beauvoir is one of the most influential thinkers in modern philosophy, especially in existentialism and feminist theory. To understand her ideas on existential freedom and responsibility, it helps to start with some basics of existentialism. Existentialism is a philosophical movement focused on the nature of human existence. One of the key ideas in existentialism is that existence precedes essence. This means that humans are not born with a set purpose or a particular identity. Instead, each person must create their purpose through their actions, choices, and experiences. Beauvoir agreed with many existential ideas from other philosophers, such as Jean-Paul Sartre, who was both her intellectual partner and life companion. However, Beauvoir went further by focusing on how these ideas of freedom and responsibility apply particularly to women, and those marginalized in society. Her book, The Second Sex, is one of her most famous works, where she examines how society treats women as the other, rather than fully human subjects. But her thoughts on existential freedom and responsibility are most fully explored in another work called The Ethics of Ambiguity. Here, Beauvoir delves into how human beings should deal with freedom, responsibility, and the moral implications of their choices. For Beauvoir, freedom is not just about having choices, it is also about understanding the impact of those choices on others. She argued that we are all condemned to be free, meaning that we cannot escape the responsibility of our choices. Even in situations where we feel forced or pressured, we are still responsible for how we respond. Every choice reflects our values and the kind of person we want to be. For Beauvoir, freedom is not just a gift or a privilege, it is also a burden because it comes with the weight of responsibility. This responsibility does not just affect us individually, it impacts everyone around us. An important aspect of Beauvoir's philosophy is the concept of bad faith. Bad faith occurs when a person refuses to acknowledge their freedom and responsibility. Instead of taking responsibility for their choices, they blame their situation, other people, or even societal norms for their actions. For example, someone might say, "I am just following orders," or "Society expects me to act this way." In doing so, they deny their own freedom and avoid responsibility. Beauvoir believed that living in bad faith was a way of escaping freedom. However, she also argued that people often fall into bad faith without realizing it. Society, culture, and traditions often encourage people to follow certain paths, and it can be difficult to break away and make one's own choices. Another major point Beauvoir makes is about the interconnectedness of freedom. She believed that true freedom cannot exist in isolation. In other words, my freedom is tied to the freedom of others. If I make choices that restrict someone else's freedom, I am, in a way, restricting my own. Therefore, Beauvoir argued for an ethical approach to freedom where individuals respect the freedom of others. This does not mean that people should do whatever others want, rather, it means that we should consider the impact of our choices on others and respect their right to freedom. For Beauvoir, the most ethical way to live is to help others achieve their own freedom while also pursuing our own. One of the most interesting aspects of Beauvoir's philosophy is her understanding of ambiguity. She believed that life is inherently ambiguous, meaning that it is full of contradictions, uncertainties, and moral complexities. There is no single right answer in life, and situations are rarely black and white. Instead, people must make choices in a world filled with shades of gray. For Beauvoir, accepting ambiguity is a crucial part of living authentically. To her, being a responsible human being means acknowledging that life is complicated and that there are no easy answers. This acceptance of ambiguity is essential to truly embrace freedom. In other words, real freedom means understanding that the world is complex and still making choices with the awareness of their impact. A powerful example of Beauvoir's ideas on freedom and responsibility is her analysis of oppression. She argued that those who are oppressed, such as women or minorities, often have fewer choices because of social, economic, or political limitations. In this way, their freedom is restricted by external forces. However, Beauvoir did not believe that oppression absolves individuals from responsibility. Instead, she encouraged people to recognize their situation and resist oppression when possible. For Beauvoir, even those who are oppressed have a responsibility to themselves and others to seek freedom. She called for solidarity, meaning that people should come together to fight against systems of oppression and create a world where everyone can be free. But this does not mean that the oppressed bear all the responsibility for changing society. Rather, everyone has a role in creating a more just world. In relationships, Beauvoir believed that existential freedom and responsibility play a critical role. She saw love, friendship, and other human connections as opportunities to experience freedom together. However, Beauvoir warned against relationships where one person tries to control or dominate the other. In her view, true love and friendship involve respecting the other person's freedom, even if it means that they make choices we do not agree with. This idea is closely related to her belief in mutual recognition. She argued that real relationships are based on seeing the other person as a fully free and autonomous individual. This recognition does not mean that we agree with everything the other person does, but it means that we respect their right to make their own choices. For Beauvoir, love and freedom go hand in hand. If one person tries to control the other, they are denying both their own and the other person's freedom. Another key concept in Beauvoir's philosophy is the idea of transcendence and immanence. Transcendence refers to the ability to go beyond oneself, to grow, and to create meaning in the world. Immanence, on the other hand, refers to staying within oneself, being passive, and not seeking change. Beauvoir argued that society often expects women to remain in immanence, focused on traditional roles such as caregiving and homemaking. In contrast, men are often encouraged to seek transcendence through careers, education, and personal growth. For Beauvoir, achieving true freedom means embracing transcendence and refusing to be confined by societal expectations. At its core, Beauvoir's philosophy is about living authentically. To live authentically means to fully embrace one's freedom, take responsibility for one's choices, and respect the freedom of others. Beauvoir believed that authenticity requires courage because it often means going against societal norms and expectations. She saw authenticity as a lifelong process of self-discovery and growth, where individuals constantly question their choices and seek to live in accordance with their true values. In conclusion, Simone de Beauvoir's ideas on existential freedom and responsibility offer a powerful framework for understanding human existence. She challenges us to recognize our freedom, take responsibility for our choices, and respect the freedom of others. Her philosophy is not just about individual freedom, it is also about creating a society where everyone can pursue their own path. Beauvoir's work remains relevant today, as it encourages us to think critically about our actions, challenge oppression, and live authentically in a complex and ambiguous world. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and we hope you found this exploration of Simone de Beauvoir's philosophy insightful. Stay tuned for more thought-provoking content.